And we are away here for the Canadian Grand Prix, say, going off to a pretty poor launch, has got to be said. Valtteri Bottas going around the outside of us. We do have the straight line speed advantage of Kimi Räikkönen, obviously, with the DRS that we have. And the car across the line set off personal best lap of the race. 1 minute 50.7, making the move up the inside of Kimi Räikkönen here. And I'm going to shift up into 8th gear here. Really gain on Nico Rosberg. Could be potentially actually make a move into the final chicane here. Very, very risky stuff going on, but Felipe Nasr is going to go for that. And he's made the move up the inside, and Rosberg here has just done us around the outside. Now he's going to have DRS. Now he's pretty much pulled away from us here. And now that's a podium gone in literally an instant. It's now a battle for 4th between ourselves and Felipe Massa, the two compatriots here, the two Brazilians. Going to be brilliant for the Brazilian fans. And wow, this just turns into an absolutely insane battle here, making the move on us. This is just never ending here. Going to try and defend it around the outside like we did last lap. In fact, we have just about done it, but no, Felipe Massa spun behind us. But this is the final lap here. We're going to make the move up the inside of Kimi Räikkönen. And in fact, we have done that here. We've made the move up into 4th place.
Welcome back to Formula 1, and welcome back to a track we haven't been at since 2003.
No, Croft, I think you're forgetting about last year's Austrian Grand Prix, the 2014 Austrian Grand Prix. Wow, what a classic race that was. But the main point of this part, guys, is that I'm no longer including the Crofty intros. You know, they're just boring, repetitive, and I'm sure you've already seen the majority of them for every track through the people who have already rushed the first season of their career. So there's no point me including them as well. But anyway, guys, we are here for part number 8 of my F1 2015 Career Mode Series, here at the Red Bull Ring with Felipe Nasr, aiming to hopefully match a result from last time out in Canada. It's going to be tough, but let's get into the qualifying report. The heavens opened as qualifying began for the Austrian Grand Prix. The weather brought about many surprises, including 14th position for Roberto Merhi, as he took advantage of those who struggled in the wet conditions. As the Williams car was not best suited to the wet conditions, they weren't expecting a great result from the session, but 20th for Bottas and 17th for Massa was a complete disaster for the team. Danica Fiat also struggled to 15th. Pastor Maldonado got the better of his teammate Romain Grosjean, who was running a dry setup in the hope that the rain wouldn't return for the race tomorrow. Surprisingly, McLaren were quite impressive in the wet conditions, with Alonso sitting 11th and Button 13th. Force India had a phenomenal qualifying session as both cars made it into the top 10. It was a mixed day for Toro Rosso as Carlos Sainz collected his best qualifying result of the season, but Max Verstappen struggled to 18th. Kimi Räikkönen continued his qualifying dominance over Sebastian Vettel with a 3rd place result. Lewis Hamilton was extremely disappointed with 4th as Nico Rosberg once again outqualified the British driver. You guessed it, Felipe Nasr will start on pole position for tomorrow's Austrian Grand Prix after deciding to take a gamble and go out for one final run on the intermediate tyres. And it paid off, and like in Monaco, he was in prime position to let the race win tomorrow. I honestly can't believe this, guys. Felipe Nasr's 2nd pole position of his Formula 1 career. We took the gamble going out on track with just over a minute to go on those intermediate tyres, and it paid dividends, and we are on pole position, in fact, for the Austrian Grand Prix, just ahead of Nico Rosberg and Kimi Räikkönen. But as you can see, it is pouring it down with rain, and it's going to be another wet race here. In fact, no, it's actually the first wet race of this career mode, in fact, so just going to have to wait and see how this one goes. The lights are about to go out now, and they are out here for the Austrian Grand Prix. It's very important to get a good start here. We don't want Rosberg to get past at turn 1 and having to play catch up on him almost straight away. As you can see, Rosberg actually going up the inside there. We have just about defended that around the outside as Rosberg just backed out in the end, didn't want to make any contact, just played it safe there. And Felipe Nasr obviously maintains the position in the lead of this Grand Prix, but now behind Rosberg, Räikkönen and Hamilton battling it out along with Sebastian Vettel. Räikkönen actually making the move up the inside of Nico Rosberg. Can Räikkönen pull that move off? No, I think Rosberg just has the better traction out of the corner, and Felipe Nasr for now has the lead. But he is running a dry setup because I think it is supposed to dry out later on in the Grand Prix. I think that's what the weather radar was saying, so it's going to be very interesting here to see how it all pans out. But as you can see, Felipe Nasr running very wide there, a huge amount of understeer, and now Rosberg is right on it. He's going to try and get around the outside, going now down into this next corner. Sector 2 is very tough in the wet conditions for Felipe Nasr especially, but you getting a huge amount of oversteer there. You couldn't quite see that, but he did actually turn the wheel there because of that oversteer he was getting. But now running out wide once again with the understeer and just the oversteer and just everything really affects him here. He's lost position to Rosberg, Räikkönen and Lewis Hamilton. This dry setup is really not helping out whatsoever. Just an absolute disaster so far in the Austrian Grand Prix, and what looked to be an absolutely fantastic start has really just turned into a complete disaster. But we've got to maintain our focus here and try and keep the guys ahead of Lewis Hamilton, Kimi Räikkönen and Nico Rosberg. We're behind. We've got Sebastian Vettel, the Ferrari, bearing down on us. He's looking to make a move into turn 1. He wants to get involved with this lead battle that seems to be occurring ahead of us, but we just about maintain that. In fact, cutting across in front of Sebastian Vettel, Quite aggressive, Felipe Nasr, very lucky not to make contact with the Ferrari driver. But now into sector 2, later on into the lap, and it is a complete lake here. Felipe Nasr starting for any sort of grip with it set so much understeer, and obviously oversteer there, getting onto the curb, but just no grip whatsoever. Now Nico Hulkenberg in the Force India is going to make his way up into 5th place. Now Felipe Nasr is more determined than ever to get past the Force India driver, because really the Force India on this game should not be faster than the Sauber. So Felipe Nasr, you know, seeing how the season's gone so far, we really should not be behind the Force India of Nico Hulkenberg. So we're going to try and make that move stick. Bearing down on him now, going to make the move up the inside, going to the inside line, and we have made that move just about, yes, up the inside, but I think Hulkenberg there did run a little bit wide, did sort of over-exaggerate that instant, as the AI do on this game. But now Ricciardo's behind us, but looking at a replay of this, a very nice move up the inside of Nico Hulkenberg of the Force India. And in fact, Fernando Alonso running very well as well. Nico Hulkenberg actually did rejoin there from a little off-track excursion, ran a little bit wide, obviously over-exaggerating that instance, as I said, but now a huge battle's going on here behind Hulkenberg. He caused all sorts of chaos with Perez, Sainz, Alonso and Romain Grosjean in the Lotus, but Alonso here, I think, is actually going to lose out. I think Carlos Sainz, his compatriot, has overtaken him round the outside, so good move there from Carlos Sainz. But now Felipe Nasr here currently is trying to defend from Daniel Ricciardo, who clearly has better pace in these wet conditions. The Sauber, I think it's just the Sauber as a car, it's just not suited to the wet conditions, as well as the dry setup, and that's really not a good mix whatsoever. It's so much understeer. I'm starting to think now that perhaps it's maybe even time for intermediate conditions, because the track is considerably drier, and the skies are brightening up, especially to the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, the skies are still quite dark, but I think it won't be long now until until the rain's supposed to clear up. I don't think it's too long, but now on to lap 8, I believe this is, and now Fernando Alonso, you can see here, is pitting in. I think a lot of the AI are pitting in, but what are they pitting in for? It must be intermediate tyres, and yes it is, and in fact we responded to that, and we pitted in on the next lap for a set of intermediate tyres. All the AI pitted on the previous lap, so we could actually make some gains here from some of the AI cars that had to double stack. That is Rosberg there, I believe, who just passed us, along with Kimi Raikkonen. But on the intermediate tyres now, where are we going to rejoin? That's going to be the interesting thing. Currently we are in 3rd place, so let's just see how it all pans out. Where is Sebastian Vettel? That is Sebastian Vettel, so I think we've actually rejoined in a net 3rd position here, so really actually staying out another lap and not getting involved in all that pit lane chaos that obviously ensued from every single car pitting in. But Sebastian Vettel rejoining just behind us, so it won't be long until the Ferrari catches up with us. But Vettel has actually, oh my goodness me, actually crashed into the back of us there. I think we did brake incredibly early, but Vettel almost out braking himself there. But it won't be too long now before Vettel gets past. We're going to do all we can. We're going to show all our worth here. We're going to try and defend the position to Sebastian Vettel. Vettel actually going to try and make the move around the outside. We move to the inside here to make it as difficult for Vettel as possible. Now going down into this next corner, Vettel's still there on our inside. Vettel desperate to make the move here. Really is squirming around. Our car is squirming around an absolute treat, really struggling. Obviously the tyres are still quite cold at this point, and Vettel did actually make that move stick, and now Vettel has just pulled away a huge amount, which didn't seem to have any pace at all in these wet conditions, even on the intermediate tyres. Really it should be easy on the intermediate tyres, but Felipe Nasr and myself, we really did not see that at all. But now Lewis Hamilton behind us now, who also had to double stack. I think that was the reason why we actually rejoined ahead of Vettel and Hamilton, because the cars obviously had to double stack Ferrari and Mercedes. So Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel lost out because of that, but now Hamilton right on the back of us here. He's going to go to the inside now. He's desperate to get past. Obviously he wants to catch up with his teammate Kimi Raikkonen and Sebastian Vettel and hopefully fight for the win later on in the Grand Prix. But in fact, no, he actually backs off, surprisingly. It's a very reminiscent of what happened on lap 1 at Turmoil with Nico Rosberg. But now into sector 2, the sector where we are just really struggling, just have no grip or pace in this sector whatsoever. Getting onto the grass there, in fact, and that's actually cost us a huge amount of time, because now Lewis Hamilton has made his way around the outside of us, and now he's up into 4th position. We're down to 5th, and now Valtteri Bottas is the car behind us, obviously our championship rival. And don't forget, Bottas actually started quite a way back, so obviously he didn't have the best of qualifyings, and now he has made his way up through the field, so credit to him for that. But in fact, quite strangely, quite a few cars are into the pits now, and this must be for the dry tyres, because I can only assume that these AI cars feel that it's ready to pit onto the dry tyres. Let's just have a look now. I think the couple of them are rejoining ahead of us. Nico Rosberg has just rejoined ahead with Kimi Raikkonen behind me. Can't quite see what tyres Raikkonen is running, so we're going to find out in a second with Nico Rosberg. So let's just check in a moment. But I do think it is ready for the dry tyres. Maybe not, because I originally did say earlier on that the track was still a bit too wet, and it does actually seem that. There's still quite a bit of spray coming off of the front tyres here, but we are kind of struggling for grip now, so maybe it is time for a tyre change. We did pit onto the intermediate tyres quite a few laps ago, and in fact the intermediate tyres do go off, do wear a lot easier than the dry tyres do. But that is Raikkonen. I think he was on the option tyres there, so it is time to go past, and it is it's time for him to go past, and it's time for us to go into the pit lane and switch on a set of intermediate tyres here. So It's going to be interesting to see here where we've rejoined, because I'm not sure if Vettel and Hamilton were affected that much by the double stacking that obviously occurred on the last lap. So let's just see now. That is Vettel going past already, so really we have lost a huge amount of time, but let's hope that we're going to have much better pace here in the dry conditions. That's Lewis Hamilton, who's inevitably going to overtake us. Yeah, he already has streamed past us here, and he's already off into the distance, and I think that's the last we're seeing of him in this Grand Prix. But now we've got Bottas behind us. I think Bottas, our championship rival, who we overtook in the last race, obviously because he didn't have the best of races at the Canadian Grand Prix, finishing at the back end of the points. But now Bottas, I think, is determined to make the move around the outside. In fact, he's done that. He's just done us around the outside there. That is incredibly surprising. Bottas just completely, he does not care at all. Just look at that. I am actually really surprised. I'm lost for words about that. Bottas going for a complete banzai manoeuvre then. Felipe Nasr was really not expecting that, so we're going up into rich mix. We need to get past as soon as possible, because Felipe Nasr really was not expecting that. Just Valtteri Bottas, just with more temperature into his tyres, just much better grip, being able to make that move stick around the outside of the Rima's corner. Now setting our personal best lap of the race quite a few laps later on lap 18, and we make the move stick up the inside. It took us quite a long time to in fact actually catch up with Valtteri Bottas, but now we are back up to 5th position, and Bottas is still behind us, but I don't think that's the last we're going to see of Bottas. Now onto lap 19, a lap later, we still got Bottas behind us here, obviously with the DRS that he has, and the straight line speed he has in that Mercedes car, well, with the Mercedes power unit, sorry, not the Mercedes car, he has the Williams car with the Mercedes power unit, but Bottas there making it, because once again, we just understeer out of the exit of that corner. I'm not sure what turn number that is. It might be turn 5, I want to say, turn 5 or turn 6, some turn like that. We just seem to really be struggling there, and it's just really affecting us in this race so far. Valtteri Bottas straight past us here on lap 20. I think, in fact, we are going to be pitting in now for a new set of tyres, because these tyres just seem to go off really quickly, and we lost quite a lot of time to Valtteri Bottas. And Daniel Ricciardo behind us, in fact, gained so much time on us, and I was just like, well, we might as well pit in now and try and get an undercut on Valtteri Bottas, otherwise he's just going to, run away with this and run away with that 5th position in today's Austrian Grand Prix. But in fact, we have rejoined in 7th, because I think all the cars behind us have pitted in for a 3rd time. But now the interesting thing is, will we be able to manage this free stop, or will we have to pit another time for the option tyres of what I'm assuming? But now Bottas, unfortunately, has rejoined ahead of us, so we're going to have to try and do some work out on track. But I do believe he's on the prime tyres. I'm not 100% sure on this, but the thing is, in this stint, guys, not a huge amount happened. The pace between Felipe Nasr and Valtteri Bottas was very equal, so we weren't gaining or losing each other or losing time on Bottas. But the main threat from behind was the other Williams of Felipe Massa. He was absolutely on it in this stint. I can only assume he was running the option tyres. He'll definitely be doing another stop, a 4th stop in this Grand Prix. So we're going to have to make the decision very soon, because at this moment in time, on lap 29 as we skip on to now, Felipe Massa has indeed pitted in for the 4th time. I'm assuming for another set of option tyres. Ricciardo obviously now occupying that 7th position. So we've got to make the decision very soon. With only 7 laps to go now, is it worth pitting in again? And I made the decision at this point to pit in for a further time, because the tyre wear was getting quite extreme actually, because Ricciardo was reeling us in by about half a second a lap. So I thought maybe we could try and catch up with Ricciardo in this 6-lap sprint at the end, because obviously the tyre wear, I do suffer with tyre wear quite a bit on this game, so I thought the opportunity was there to try and catch up with Ricciardo. But the most important thing is now, Felipe Massa pitted quite a few laps ago, so are we going to actually rejoin ahead of him, or we have to do some work out on track and rejoin behind, or are we going to rejoin behind him and have to do some work out on tracks? Because Felipe Massa going on board with him now. So where are we in all of this? Felipe Massa going through turn 1. In fact, we're actually behind him, so we're going to have to do some more work out on track. Another battle here between the 2 Brazilian drivers. Obviously, we saw an insane battle between the pair at the Canadian Grand Prix in the last race, but once again, we got another battle here between the 2 compatriots. But on the back straight now, heading up towards the Rima's corner, we got the slipstream, and we're going to breeze past Felipe Massa here, almost making contact. So close there, actually, to making contact. How we didn't make contact there, I will never know. So close there between the 2 cars, but Felipe Massa with the better grip around the outside. Nasr making the move stick on his compatriot of Felipe Massa. Now putting it down to standard mixture, running rich fuel mixture there to try and get a straight line speed advantage on the Williams of Felipe Massa. Once again, having a look at a quick replay of this move, a very nice move around the outside of Felipe Massa. Once again, seems to be a popular overtaking spot. The Rima's certainly in this Grand Prix. Now onto lap 33, we set our personal best lap of the race, and the thing is, guys, my aim was to catch up with Daniel Ricciardo. We were closing the gap by about a good 2 seconds a lap, but the problem was it just wasn't enough in the end, and I do think that it wasn't a mistake really to do this 4-stop strategy, because I think personally we would have lost an equal amount of time if we did a 3-stop in comparison to the 4 stops. It definitely wasn't a mistake. If anything, the 4-stop was actually a little bit quicker, and I think Ricciardo probably would have got past anyway, considering the rate he was catching us up before we pitted in for the 4th time. But anyway, guys, it's going to be a good result today. I wouldn't say it was a bad result whatsoever. 7th place. You know, a little disappointing, I suppose, considering where we started, but the wet conditions really did screw us over earlier on. I think we could have got a much better result, perhaps even a top 5 finish, if the whole race was dry, because our pace was obviously a lot better in the dry. As you can see, with the lap times here, actually setting almost the fast lap of the race. I think Lewis Hamilton, in the end, picking up the fast lap of the Grand Prix, but in the end, not a bad result whatsoever. Getting past Felipe Massa at the end and not really too much happening, just us reading in, closing down on Daniel Ricciardo, but in the end, it wasn't enough to overtake or even catch up with the Red Bull driver. Just unfortunate there, and unfortunately, I think we have lost a position in the World Championship to Valtteri Bottas now. Now looking further down, our teammate Marcus Ericsson still not scoring any points, down in 13th place. But now looking at the Drivers' Championship, we have indeed lost position to Valtteri Bottas, so we are down to 6th place. Really the only change in this Grand Prix, as you can see, quite a few cars making gains. Hulkenberg, in fact, getting a good result in the end. Actually 5 points. I thought he was running quite well earlier on in the Grand Prix, but nonetheless, still a decent result. And obviously the next race in Britain, it's a classic, guys. Please do tune in for that. I will see you next time.